Good afternoon, Yakima Downtown Rotary. I am speaking with a different voice today. Thank goodness I have a voice. But I spent a little time with some grandkids down in Portland, and they gave me a little bit, I call it the cold brew. And I discovered my voice this morning after losing it for a few days. So bear with me. But speaking of cold brew, I'm going to ask Nicole Donegan to come quickly up to the mic and just tell us a little bit about what happened at Single Hill Brewery this week, which unfortunately I wasn't able to attend.
Thank you to everyone who did come out. We had a really fun event. We had about 30 people come out, and one of the benefits was that we had about 2.5 cases of beer donated back to our club to use at our summer events. So, and 10% of all sales are being donated to Yakima Charity. So there's a lot of ways that you can give back through buying and drinking beer. So I would suggest there's a whole bunch left, so if you get a chance to stop by. Again, if you want to get some and donate it back to Rotary Charities or back to the Rotary events this summer, I'm happy to pick them up and drop them off at the Rotary office, so just let me know. They'll hold them there for us at Single Hill. It's $55 for a half case and $110 for a full case of 6 4-packs, so we'd love it if you guys could help us out at Ways and Means. So thank you much.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks for spearheading that event. And yesterday I shipped off I could only get 3 cans in the box that I had, so I shipped them off to my daughter and son-in-law who love beer. So they said, send us some, so I did. I want to thank our greeters today. I know Angela Gonzalez was back there greeting. I see Jennifer here, Jennifer Humphreys, and I don't think she knew she was, but she was here. So thanks for greeting, and we'll start off with our music today. Andy Webb will present.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Happy Thursday. So I don't sing, and y'all would not want me to sing. So in lieu of that, I know you're crushed, but I want to share with you a music minute, and there's a very special reason why. So I have up here a shot of Carnegie Hall, and at the very top is a ticket from the opening night of Carnegie Hall. So this music minute is a little bit about history and also a hometown group. The story of Carnegie Hall begins in the middle of the Atlantic. In the spring of 1887, on board a ship traveling from New York to London, newlyweds Andrew Carnegie, the richest industrialist, and Louise Whitfield, daughter of a well-to-do New York merchant, were on their way to the groom's native Scotland for their honeymoon. Also on board was the 25-year-old Walter Damrosch, who had just finished his second season as a conductor and musical director of the Symphony Society of New York and the Oratorio Society of New York. And he was traveling to Europe for the summer to study with Hans von Berlo. Over the course of the voyage, the couple developed a friendship with Damrosch, inviting him to visit their Scotland home. It was there at the estate called Kilgraston that Damrosch discussed his vision for a new hall in New York City. Carnegie expressed interest in committing a portion of his enormous wealth to the project, and the idea of Carnegie Hall was born. Since it opened in 1891, Carnegie Hall has set the international standard for musical excellence as the aspirational destination for the world's finest artists. From Tchaikovsky to Dvorak, Mahler, and Bartók, to George Gershwin, Billie Holiday, Benny Goodman, Judy Garland, and the Beatles, an honor roll of music-making artists representing the finest of every genre has filled Carnegie Hall throughout the years. But Yakima has its own Carnegie Hall artists. One of the marvelous events at the Hall is the COA Nationals for Top Choirs Festival. High school choirs from every corner of the world come to New York to take in the sights with the crown jewel of performing on the most prestigious stage in the world, Carnegie Hall. Last month, our very own Eisenhower High School joined other choirs for this once-in-a-lifetime event. Can you go to the next slide? Here we go. Please enjoy this brief snippet of our incredibly talented students as they represent Yakima on the world's finest stage with students from all over the nation at Carnegie Hall. It's just a brief snippet. We're very proud of our students. We're very proud of our students representing Yakima, and thank you for sharing this moment with our students who were there at Carnegie Hall in New York just last month.
So how many of you have sung in a choir at any level? How many are still singing in a choir at any level? Oh, that's sad, isn't it? All right. Thank you, Andy. Actually, I got chills a little. One spot. Just the music and the setting was awesome. Thank you. Jan Loring with an invocation for us.
I sympathize with Rick. I had laryngitis, much to my husband's pleasure, last week. 4 days of silence. He smiled a lot. First, I'd like to say I was encouraged to pray for two of my dear friends here, for our wonderful Sergeant at Arms, Dana, and your wonderful speaker, Sharon Miracle, our very own. I was thinking what you do for a prayer each time. Everybody does different things. And I thought it would be kind of cute and appropriate and maybe fun to honor our very own speaker, Sharon Miracle, by using a play on her last name, the subject of miracles. Let's say we believe in miracles. Miracles do happen every day. A drop of water, the rain. A ray of sunshine, a beautiful day. A caterpillar turning into a butterfly. The birth of a child, and think about it, breathing. Just breathing. We take it for granted. It's so ordinary, right? But guess what? It is all a miracle. The most incredible thing about miracles is they do actually happen. They happen, and it's all about what's in our mind and what we're really thinking. Around us, life bursts with mysteries. No matter your age or your station in life, I challenge you to create a mindset in which the miracles you wish for can come true. We are never too old or too young. Try to create your own story in which you want to be possible. Make believing in yourself real, in your goals, and your story may take you to unexpected places. And along the way, don't forget to have faith, faith in the Supreme Being to help you. Lord, help us all. Amen.
Thank you, Jan. Always very thoughtful. Thank you. I do have some sad news to announce. We just learned that our member, Dr. Bush Preacher, has passed away today, this morning. I understand it was fairly sudden, unexpected. So keep the Preacher family in your prayers and thoughts, and we'll give you more information as we learn going forward. Changing gears, we have some guests today. I think we have quite a few guests. So if the guests would stand and let us see you, acknowledge your presence, and since you're a guest, you must not be a member of Rotary, but if you're interested in becoming a member, there are applications on our table, and certainly Rotarians at your table, you can ask questions about Rotary. Celise Hopkins, she is in the wing. Rotarians at Workday. And we need your help, right? Okay.
Welcome, guests, and hello, fellow Rotarians. Last week, we had a number of folks sign up for the Rotarians at Work Day coming up on Saturday, April 29th. So much so that we filled all of the slots for the Sarge Hubbard Park work site, but we still need volunteers for two of the sites, for the Rotary Lake cleanup, as well as the Welcome to Yakima sign, clean up, and spruce up. There's sign-up sheets on your table, so please sign up if you're able to help out that day. We need folks to, it's just a mere morning from 9 to noon, but it makes a big difference for beautifying our community. So thank you, and please sign up.
Let's see. I have the sign-up sheet here. It's the green sheet on the table. So look around for it. Pass it around the table. You'll notice that one of the sites has Andy Webb and no one else. Don't make her feel badly, okay? It's not you, Andy. We need to have other volunteers. So, you know, it's a great time to actually do something physical, I guess, as a Rotary member. So I hope you'll look at that date and sign up for the lake and the entrance sign. Entrance sign especially. Ralph Thompson, I know he's taken people around the lake quite a few times in the past, and appreciate his volunteering every year and those who've signed up. But it does take a few more people to get the job done in a short period of time. So thank you. Amy Mabe, you have a couple of things to take care of while you're up here. Yes, we'll do that first. Okay, I'm on task now. Okay, come on up, Patty. So I'm introducing Patty Graff as our newest Rotarian member, and she is, are you a manager at Beacons? Sales manager at Beacons? I'll have to talk to you. There's a chair I'd like to ship someplace, so we'll have a conversation. All right. What you get now is, to introduce her. Hey, I'm trying to manage the time, you know.
Hello, fellow Rotarians, guests, and thank you, President Rick. And my friend Patty is here today to become our newest Rotarian. And she does have one of those last names that you would think you would know how to pronounce, but then I've heard her say it, and I thought, I do not pronounce her last name properly. How do you pronounce your name? Graffie. Not Griffey, but Graffie. Okay. So my friend Patty just is a recent transplant to Yakima. She came from the west side, and I met her, in August of 21. I started talking with her about the possibility of buying a house over here. She did not want to move to Yakima. Her husband, Jim, was like, yes, Yakima. And she was like, no. But she started coming over, and we started showing them houses, and the next thing you know, they have a beautiful house in Sela. And is your pool in yet? Her pool's in. So I guess I know another house where if I have to cool off at any time soon, I can jump in. So here they are in the Palm Springs of Washington, and just a little background on Patty. She joined, when she got here, she joined Beacons Northwest in the fall of 22, and she's the sales manager there. She brings with her over 20 years of sales and customer service experience in the hospitality industry. And I know that because sometimes she gives me little insider tips when we're eating here. She's like, oh, this is this, and that is that, and this is that. So she also was a director of a large catering and a restaurant group on the west side, down in the Tacoma area. And also, because of that, she knows a lot about wine. So she's kind of your wine guru if you need another one. Her expertise in handling complex events and logistics transfers well into helping her clients with their moves. I got a little tickle all of a sudden. Excuse me. So in her spare time, Patty enjoys spending time with her family. She has a husband of 40 years, and their 40th anniversary was just on the 8th of April. 40 years. Jim is a sales trainer for Safe Step walk-in tubs, and she has twin sons who are engineers, both of them. One is a river engineer in Tacoma, saving the salmon, yay. The other is a computer engineer who is helping people with cancer and other illnesses through blood tests instead of invasive procedures. Can I open one of these? Excuse me. Her daughter and son-in-law are directors of youth with a mission in Honolulu, Hawaii. And thank you, Charlie, thank you. They have her only 2 grandkids, ages 6 and 3. Patty loves the outdoors, traveling, reading, and entertaining. And if you go to her pool to spend any time and drink wine with her, you'll also get a look at her garden railroad. They have a railroad in their backyard, like a little garden railroad. So I was intrigued with it, as I know you probably are too. Previous volunteer activities: high school leader at Harbor Covenant Church in Gig Harbor from 2007 to 22, planned and supervised 3 mission trips to Hawaii. She spent 2 years on the board for youth apprenticeships in the Tacoma School District, representing employers that hired and monitored the progress of students, earning them a journeyman status and a job by the time they graduated high school. I was thinking maybe she needs to connect with you there, Adrian. And 2 years as the board secretary for the Puget Sound National Association of Catering Executives. She knows her wine. She's got a great husband. Her birthday is November 23rd. Please welcome my friend, Patty Graffee.
So enjoy that standing ovation. And I'm going to get on track here. Okay, we are going to start with the red badge with Patty on it. Moving storage and distribution. Wear that for hopefully a short period of time until you get your blue badge. Here's a plaque to place on any wall that you would like to do so. Probably not outside along your railroad, but here's the blue roster for connecting with Rotarians, and to announce that you were a member of Yakima Rotary by placing this on your car around your license plate. All right, welcome. My name is Silly. So, second task for Amy, I'm going to let her introduce it.
Thank you again. I've never been nervous to do anything up here. I love a microphone, in case you didn't already know that. But I get today to present to one of our beloved members the Bud Applegate Paul Harris Fellowship Award. And as my good friend Taylor Swift says, it's been a long time coming for this person to be presented with this award. In all transparency, it probably should have been last year, and I take the heat for not making it happen. I dropped the ball on it. However, all is not lost because we are here now and ready to present him with this award. This person has been described to me as diligent and dedicated, detailed, skilled and handy, smart. A parent to 3 boys, a spouse for 50-plus years, and a pretty great golfer. When I asked some other Rotarians what our recipient is like as a person, I was told this person had significantly influenced young people during their formative years in the development of athletic skills, in character development, and in group accomplishment, even while our recipient had a very demanding medical practice. This man has helped several of our past presidents and district governors with projects and conferences. He has traveled to places like Honduras as a Rotarian to build and help with infrastructure. He volunteers for his church and has supported African missions along with his wife. Most recently, he helped keep this Rotary Club connected and able to actually conduct almost an entire year of meetings via a website called Zoom. And as I recall, there weren't a lot of hands going up in late March of 2020, people volunteering to figure out how to get members of all ages, some with very minimal technical skills, to continue participating in our meetings from the safety of their home. This man knew he could do it, and he volunteered to do it. So Jennifer Bleesner could actually preside over meetings. so our scholarships could be presented to those very deserving young people, for our program speakers to be seen and heard, for music and invocations to be heard, and for our weekly fellowship with our friends. And I just remember seeing everybody's little Brady Bunch faces. And it was so much fun to stay connected in that weird time. And we have this person to thank for it. This man has been a Rotarian since 1999, this Christian man, this doctor who has no doubt saved many lives. This husband to Kirsten, the father to Eric, Nathan, and Evan, is a good man and deserves this award from our club, and he deserved it last year, so my apologies. This award is presented to a member for good works of a Rotary and or civic nature over a significant period of time and by meeting the four-way test. Fellow Rotarians, please stand and give ovation to Dr. Dwayne Monick, recipient of the Bud Applegate Paul Harris Fellowship Award.
I just want to say I haven't cried twice in the same day. This is one good reason. Bush preacher wasn't. So, thanks a lot.
Are there any Monick family members here today? Oh my golly, look at the cheering section in the back. Hey! I think I have to say that, I don't know, I'm just assuming that Dwayne may have saved our Rotary Club during COVID. We can't thank him enough. What a great choice. Thanks, Amy, for your committee coming up with a great choice this year. John Ball, hope you're close. There he is, running up to the podium. He is the master of the marketplace.
With lots of other people. And actually, with Sleaze up here talking about an opportunity to get your hands dirty, I have an even better opportunity, and perhaps even sooner. On your table, there's a little white form, and if you would sign up and give us your name and phone number and email, I'll tell you what you're going to do after you sign up. No, we are getting close to getting the marketplace ready. We still hope it's open by mid-May, and to do that, we have to lay a few pavers. Now, they're not very big, and they're pretty easy to handle, and it looks like you're going to be under the capable leadership of Jordan Mattson, Jimmy DeGrasse, and Brad Kessinger, along with Sig Fossum. So you've got somebody who knows and will tell you what to do. I will be sitting over on the sidelines under an umbrella, and we'll cheer you on. But if you would sign up, we're probably going to be starting the week of, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. And so if you would just sign up on there, we'll let you know. And you don't have to put a time down at this point, but we'll set up some shifts and whatnot. But if we know those of you that are available to do this, that would be great. Again, the more hands, the better. It will be a lot of fun. I promise that the buggy whip that I usually carry for these projects, I'm not bringing this time. So anyway, please sign up. We really could use the help, and you know, Charlie might even be there to sing, so who knows. Anyway, really appreciate it. It's getting close, and we really would be great to have you there and get your labor as part of this task. Thanks a lot.
I think the only thing John didn't tell us was how much the pavers weigh, but that's all right. They're small. Okay. Dana, Dana Dwinell is going to collect some money, Sergeant of Arms.
So here we are, Thursday, April 13, 2023. Not a heck of a lot has happened on this day in history that we really care about, but there are a couple things. The other one. So, first performance of the Messiah, Rick. In 1860, the first Pony Express was reached Sacramento. In 1964, Sidney Poitier won Best Actor for the film Lilies in the Field. 1965, the Beatles recorded Help. Okay, I got the year wrong here. Pay $1 if you're laughing. 1997, Tiger Woods won his first Masters. I don't think the picture's right either, but anyway, the concept, you got that, okay? However, Monday, April 13th in the year 1970, there was kind of a concerning message that came from the commander of the Apollo 13. Can anybody tell me what that message was? Perfect. Can you imagine if this had happened on Friday the 13th? Apollo 13, Friday the 13th. I mean, ugh, scary. So here's the thing. That's the fear, the phobia of fear of Friday the 13th. It's officially a phobia in journals of psychiatric medicine. I can't pronounce this thing, but like all phobias, it's an extreme and irrational fear, and it's synonymous with misfortune and bad luck. And people have a lot of superstitions about this date. So, before I forget, I want everybody here, using the four-way test, to think of a number between 1 and 7, put it in your little head, and hold on to it, and we'll get back to that number later. Where does the fear of 13 come from? Oh my gosh, it's from the clicker. So a lot of these things are based in folklore and Christian heritage. And for the Last Supper, Judas was the 13th member at the table, and so, of course, that was very bad luck for the world, and that's where we get a lot of the fear of Friday the 13th. As it turned out, that didn't work out so well. Tarot card readings, if you get the number 13, it's the death card. That's not so great. High-rise buildings often eliminate the 13th floor. Hospitals, hotels, and airports don't usually have a 13 room or a 13 gate. So have any particularly bad events actually happened on Friday the 13th? In 1940, Buckingham Palace was bombed in World War II. October 13th, 1972, Flight 571 from Uruguay to Colombia crashed in the Andes. There were 18 survivors, and if you have seen the TV series on Showtime or HBO, Yellow Jackets, you know how they survived. It's disgusting. In 2012, some of you should remember this, a ginormous luxury passenger ship, the Concordia, ran aground in Italy, and we still don't know how that happened. And then, 7 years from today, scientists are predicting that a very large asteroid is going to be coming within, this is in 7 years, 20,000 miles of the planet Earth. That 20,000 miles sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about stuff in space, it's like this close. So, if you believe that there is something sinister about Friday the 13th, or if you have ever changed your schedule or moved something around or adjusted anything because it was Friday the 13th, be honest and pay $1. Come on. We already know that there's been one Friday the 13th this year already. It was in January, and every year you have the opportunity of having up to 4 Friday the 13ths in that year. And we will have more Friday the 13ths in the year 2023, anywhere between 1, 2, or 3. So how many will we be having the rest of this year? 1, 2, or 3? One. Look forward to that in October. It happens the day before the Huskies play Oregon and the day before the Cougs play Arizona. Just saying, go Cougs. There's other quirky phobias once you start looking around there, you know, the fear of falling, fear of public speaking, fear of buttons, fear of peanut butter, fear of flowers, fear of the color white, and fear of air. Now, if somebody's phobic about air, I'm not quite sure how that works out. But we combat all of our irrational fears and phobias with symbols of good luck. Many of us know this. Clover leaf, we knock on wood, throw salt over the shoulder, don't walk under ladders, don't open umbrellas inside. We have a lucky penny, an elephant, horseshoe. The little black cat is Japanese something, waving cat, it's good luck, and shamrocks. Okay, how about this? If you have a lucky omen, a penny, a shamrock, or something like that, an elephant, clover, pay $1. Finally, we get back to the number 13. Maybe it's bad luck, maybe it's good luck. For me, 13 has always been incredibly lucky, but numerology might see it differently. Basically, numerology is you take the date and you add up all the individual numbers until you get one number between 1 and 9. So in our case, we add 4 and 1 and 3, 2, 0, 2, 3. That comes up to 15, which is really 6. 6 in numerology is responsibility, caring for others, and caring for the community. It's a perfect Rotary number. So if you picked 6 in earlier, when you honestly picked a number, you don't have to pay $1, and everybody else does. Thank you.
Our speaker introduction will be by Craig Gilbert. Come on up, Craig.
Well, Sharon is definitely lucky with her name, and we are lucky to have her in our club. Sharon Miracle was hired as president and CEO of the Yakima Valley Community Foundation in late 2018. She brought extensive experience to the role as a former senior leader in healthcare, higher education, and in philanthropy. She has managed small and large organizations and served on the boards of many local nonprofits. Sharon loves this valley, its people and culture, and desires to make it an even better place to live. Sharon's strong experience in the private sector and in government contracting has served the foundation well in developing systems, securing grants, and growing its services and programs to better serve our community. The Yakima Valley Community Foundation is now celebrating its 20th anniversary. Many of you Rotarians were instrumental in its foundation and growth. Under Sharon's leadership, the foundation continues to grow and flourish. Her goal is being realized to make it a well-loved and highly regarded organization for generations to come. President Rick, fellow Rotarians and guests, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Sharon Miracle.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests, and particularly my board members and staff who are here with us today, and one of which is Craig Gilbert, so really appreciate that. He has to say those glowing things, so thanks. So it is our 20th anniversary, and as Craig alluded to, there were many, many people instrumental in founding and the organization itself in 2003, and we can just do this by either show of hands or maybe stand up if you've ever served on the board or been a consultant to the Yakima Valley Community Foundation. Yep. And there are many who are absent today. I mean, it really has been a labor of love for community members. It certainly has had its ups and downs, like lots of organizations have over the years, but I'm going to show you 20 years of impact today, and I hope that you'll appreciate this, and then I'm going to save, I hope some time that you can ask me any questions you'd like. So the agenda, I'm going to go through what is a community foundation, all about YBCF, share a bit about our team and how we serve our community, the five-legged stool approach, and then take some questions. So what is a community foundation? It actually was established by this gentleman in the rocking chair that long ago, and in Cleveland, and he was a banker and entrepreneur and established the first one. And they were really designed for banks. They were marketed to banks to actually invest in community and create goodwill for the bank. It's since changed, and quickly right after that happened, 22 of the leading cities around the nation followed suit and created community foundations. There are now more than 800 of them across the nation, the largest of them financially being the Silicon Valley Foundation with $4 billion in assets. And if you don't think that money can go a long way, it's incredible. One of the things that's unique about a community foundation, it has very unique circumstances and legal privileges provided by the IRS and government that allow it to do things that other organizations can't, other private foundations, other foundations cannot, because it's all for community benefit. Every dime of it's for the benefit of a geographical location. So a little bit about our history. In 2003, someone had the foresight to say, gosh, we think this hospital, which was Sisters of Providence, formerly St. Elizabeth, many of you know, has been our community for over 100 years, was getting ready to be sold, perhaps to a for-profit entity. And I'm not sure exactly who had that brainchild, but said, we should do something to make sure those funds and that goodwill stays in our community. And it took a couple years to get it going. They got the organization accredited. It had one board of directors member when it was started on paper, James Hogan, if anybody knows that person. And it wasn't until 2005 that we actually became fully functional, however. So there was a corpus initially, both the Toppenish and the Yakima hospitals, which were owned later by Astria. Those two facilities were sold, and the Sisters of Providence Foundation said, we'd like to give our corpus of funds over to this new community foundation. So they gave a gift, roughly $8 million. And HMA, who bought out the system, said, and we're going to pledge another 10. They wanted to create some goodwill in the community. And they put money down and then paid out $1 million a year for quite some time. The community foundation had a responsibility to the Department of Health. And so for years, we actually had to file public records with Department of Health to determine whether or not that institution was doing its due diligence in charity care in our community. So pretty interesting. So we've had this long relationship with healthcare. Well, that initial investment generated more folks to come forward. And here we are today. This is a snapshot. We have 74 million plus in assets, meaning those are our funds that we have in hand from the initial 20. We're the #1 grant maker in both volume and amounts of grants that we make. In the last 10 years alone, we've granted over $35 million between Kittitas and Yakima counties. We manage 111 different funds, and those are different funds that actually have different legal requirements. They're managed differently, different folks that we account to and manage those resources for. So what's our mission? Pretty simple, and this is a really common mission again, among community foundations. We connect people, resources, and ideas so that the community we know and love thrives. We are totally here to serve our geographic community. And our values, and these were restated a few years ago, we really wanted to elevate the work that we were doing and really put some pieces behind that. And values are just on paper until you realize them. So results, we absolutely wanted to be results-oriented, making sure we were delivering a good product to folks and service. We want capability, excellence, transparency, collaboration, and inclusion. And those are key underlying tenets to everything that we do. And this is just a snapshot. So what does our history financially look like? And I could have gone back to 2005, but the last 10 years, this is a snapshot of the contributions that we've received year by year. So you can see during the pandemic, it was in the 7 million range. In 2022, our last piece, also 7.2 million. Several of these are large bequests that come to us. It's one of the things that we have been very fortunate to receive. And this is grants made per year. So you can see this again, several $1 million each year, and on average it's 3.45 million over the last 10 years that we've granted every single year. And to 130 different organizations typically in one year. We've granted anywhere from $500 for a sponsorship request up to $50, $100, $150,000. Depends on really what the need and the request is. Oops, skip that. That's it. I had to do some changing. Our screens here don't reflect the white colors, so I had to do some last-minute modifications, so I apologize. And this is really when I talked about those values and the pillars and where are we heading with the future. And this is one of the things a couple years ago our board took on with staff and created something that I knew from my healthcare experience, where you're leading a large institution, trying to align people and around what are we focused on, and these were our pillars. People, we wanted great people doing the very best things they could for the community we know and love. Money, we wanted to positively and perpetually, meaning forever. We don't need this money for 10 years. We need to serve our community for the long term. That's what we're here for, to really benefit the community, and that's really difficult to read even for me. But this next one is grants and operations, and if I believe that, I think it is, we'd like enough money that we can fund at least 80% of the grant applications we receive. We don't want people applying for grants and not getting money from us. We'd love to be able to award as many as we can. And then this is the big, huge, hairy goal, and this really is a big, audacious goal. We want to be nationally acclaimed and cherished by the community we know and love. And we've been heading down that path. You know, we have more outside news about us than what you all folks know in community probably. We have partners across the nation, everybody from Microsoft to Gates to a variety of folks from the West Side who frequently gift to us and look to us for advice, including a lot of our state agencies. So this is our team, and I wish our board chair was here today. This is Cynthia Juarez. I have 21 other board members, including Craig and Anita Quintana, who's here with us today. Thank you, Anita. Myself, and have 11 staff members, and don't choke on that because that seems like a huge number. Most of those are fully grant-funded positions. This is our board of directors. It's quite diverse, and it reflects the community in which we serve. And these are leading professionals in their field with deep expertise, and they work amazingly well together. It's like a group of friendship, and we can challenge each other and doing some really, really deep work. We also have this unique thing. We have an investment committee. Our investment committee is actually responsible for that $75 million in assets, including endowment funds for other agencies and what we call their checking accounts, if you will. And these are folks who have local roots, and they utilize the advice of Greystone Consulting. It's a subsidiary of Morgan Stanley with a specialty in foundation work across the nation. This is the staff. You can see we've got a pretty diverse staff here, and as I said, it's quite diverse. And Heidi Pelletier and Lindsay Boswell from my team are here today. You guys, thank you. Heidi's our Director of Donor Advising. Lindsay's our Director of Grants and Programs. And a lot of these folks right now have been hired, 3 of them most recently, have been hired to support a large Department of Health grant. We just were awarded a $4.2 million grant. And we're going to do lots and lots of work in a 4-county region around improving health outcomes and education for folks. So how do we serve our community? So the first, I mentioned a charitable savings account. That's what people might refer to as an endowment account. Lots of folks don't really know what that is. It's complicated. A charitable checking account, granting and programs, and we are a community convener, and we're also a legacy maker. And this Rotary Club and Yakima Rotary Trust will totally understand the legacy maker when I get there. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about these and then some success stories. You go, oh gosh, I didn't know they did that. Ones either that we manage or that we funded heavily. So this, I don't want to get deep on this. This is the charitable savings account. We can do this for agencies, and we have many agency funds. That means other nonprofits in our community that put their trust in us to pool their assets, their savings account, if you will, with ours, and we invest for them for a very inexpensive fee, and we provide benefits for that beyond just that. We also provide planned giving assistance with them. If they have someone who wants to make a charitable gift in a state, we manage all of that process for them and give them advice. So you put $100,000 in, and basically this just shows that you can pull 4% off on average a year to help out with operations or whatever, but this money continues to grow over time and should last in perpetuity if done well. Some success stories, a little difficult to read, but Yakima Valley Museum has had an endowment fund with us for a number of years. PNWU, we managed 12 different endowment funds for them, and that was a long, deep relationship we've created. This is probably one of my favorite stories, and I go, wow, I didn't know that. PNWU, Pacific Northwest University, the medical school, when they first started, I never thought about the implications of this, but they had 1 year of students. But you have to have full faculty and buildings and all of those things available, right, to serve 1 year of students? Well, they had this huge shortfall. They needed 4 years of students to be paying tuition to cover their cost. So they actually came to the Community Foundation, and the leadership at that time, the board of directors said, we think we can do this. They loaned them the money to cover those first few years of operations at a very low interest rate and helped at that success, and we've had a long-lasting relationship with them ever since, which is tremendous. And then more recently, and Nancy Leahy can attest, she's on the Parker Youth and Sports Board of Directors. The Carol Finney Memorial just was established. A local teacher left a legacy gift. We're managing those funds, and Parker Youth and Sports is making all kinds of scholarship awards and helping with softball pieces. There's lots of those. Non-endowed funds. And don't get too excited here, come on. There are many. Field of interest funds, donor advised funds. These are the things that are interesting that the Community Foundation can do that others can't. Designated funds that are really designated for a specific purpose, and then scholarship funds, and that's one you guys are most familiar with, I think. So here's a couple. We actually manage a fund called Keep Arts Alive, and we try to solicit gifts for that. People fund that, and as grants opportunities come up, we promote those and give out grants through that. And it's just for people who love our arts and who knew that during pandemic they were having a hard time. We do donor advised funds, many of them. We have millions and millions in donor advised funds. This is the Smith family. We all know those folks, are lovely Bellbreaker owners and Loftus Ranches, and they did this really amazing family fund where they put proceeds from each of those businesses together, and then they ask us to grant out of that, and they contribute to that every year to a sizable amount. A designated fund, we actually worked with Anava Farms when they sold their farm to Yakima Farms, and this is a Yakima Nation's food box. That food box, for a small amount, can get funded, and that food get delivered to folks out on the reservation who are in need of fresh produce and food. It's a really nice contribution. And then we also more recently established this Washington Women Lawyers, the Yakima chapter, did a fund to help women of color pursue a legal education on any level. It could include daycare coverage or tutoring or you name it. And we work with a large group of lawyers, women lawyers, here to do that. It's really, really fun. This is granting and program, some of the things that folks know. So we do an annual grant round. We also manage this thing. Helen Jewett was one of our community's leading philanthropists. Helen left us in her bequest an amount of funds that we have grown since to cultivate and establish youth leadership and young philanthropists. So every year we go across the valley and we pick high school students that want to participate. We train them on what is philanthropy and what's granting and where are the needs and what does our community profile look like. And then Helen's account actually gives them $50,000 to award as they will throughout our community. We match that, we give them another $50,000, and they go out in community and make these charitable gifts. Of course, it gets approved by our board, but we give them full reign at that. And this is probably one of my more heartwarming stories from that. Hoover Elementary, one of the schools that's in one of our lower income areas, had the same playground equipment since the day it was built almost 50 years ago. Had never had new playground equipment. They had a PTA trying to raise funds for more than 25 years and could not get it done. And they toured local schools, they heard of that, and they thought, how is that okay that these children don't know they're important enough and deserving of nice playground equipment while all these other schools are getting great playground equipment? And they gave them a very sizable gift, and they phoned the head of the PTA, who broke down sobbing in tears. Those folks never thought that they would have nice playground equipment. That playground got installed this year and have been out there. One of the students on one of those councils was actually, he went to school there, and it was a tearjerker. We talk about that story all the time. I go, oh my gosh, it's really powerful when they do that. Last year, most of the funding that the students did went into our homeless community, backpacks and all kinds of stuff to better serve our homeless population. They had a really soft heart for that. And this other one you see is Act 6 Ready to Rise. It's a program that provides high need, high scholarship, and leadership training to students in throughout the Yakima Valley. These students get almost a full ride scholarship, including everything, at either Heritage University, at PLU, or at Northwestern. And this, there are now 18 slots available for students. They have graduated 117 students as of end of 2022. There's an 88% graduation rate, way higher than students going through on normal scholarships. These are first-gen students who graduate with a degree, and they persist in going. They get full support through that. And I don't mean just financially. They go through leadership training. Anything they need, we're available to them 24/7. They go through summer camps together. They really build a strong bond. It's an incredible program. It's just, and these students go on to do wonderful stuff. One of my staff members, who's now in our program side, came up through that program and she's just flourishing in our community. And I'm sorry again for the white. This is another, these are annual granting. Rod's House, we actually gave them money to to hire a behavioral health specialist to help youth there. Just a couple examples, we actually gave funds for the Toppenish Food Bank, the chest there, to buy a van so they could actually do deliveries past being, when you're living in really rurally and your car has an issue and you don't have food, how does that happen? We're going to hitchhike to town to get a box of food from the food bank. It just doesn't work. So we thought we're going to create a system where they can. So a variety of those things. These are just some samples. The fourth piece, we are a community convener. And I like to use stories to elaborate these things or have people understand what we mean. But we do physical sponsorship, and we do a lot of them. Where you have a small organization, they're not quite ready for their own 501c charitable organization, or maybe they never will be because they have a specific point and purpose. And we do the accounting side. We basically do all their checks and balances, and we allows them to get grants coming in under our 501c3, and we really try to support them and lift them up and make that work happen. And I'll give you a few examples. It's not Gormley, what's the camp? Camp 5. Sorry, it's the Boy Scout camp that existed years up on Chinook Pass, and it's up for sale. And a local group said, we don't want that to go. They didn't want it just for Boy Scouts. They want it to be available for all youth throughout the state, but particularly in Central Washington. Put together a fundraising group, and we're going to help them try to achieve that. So that's a small one. That's a limited time piece, but some really cool pieces that have happened through there. Special initiatives, you may have read things like The Vanished. That's the entire piece about missing and murdered Indigenous people that's been in our newspaper for the last 2 years. We funded that. That was a really important piece we wanted to raise attention around. And we also were raising attention around why is local media important to us? Why is the free press really important to us? And we're working on some models still in a national pilot project. And then we do a lot of nonprofit support and education, meaning we have folks who come in and say, look, we're going to go in this fundraising campaign, but I don't know how to do this or that, and can we pick your brain and get some ideas from you? And one of the things that we sit down and do is we try to connect them with donors who might have a like interest. Like, we think so-and-so might like to hear your story. And I'm gonna, where's John, is a good example. There's lots of, I'm looking around the room going, gosh, I've met with lots of folks to do this, where funding becomes available. We know of a funder, a philanthropist who might want to help there, and they do, as a result of that introduction and communication kind of convening of those. Some examples. We are the physical sponsor for the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition. They came out of the census work, working together to really empower this community and have them be more engaged in their own civic work and voting and a variety of those things. We are a national, we're one of 6 across the nation, funded by Microsoft in a community media pilot project where we actually want to have a local media that our community buys and, owns and is for itself. And I'm not talking about the Yakima Herald Republic. I'm talking about media for all of us that we would do. We also manage the Investing in Children. We have for a number of years. It's a coalition of more than 60 organizations. Lindsay and another gal in our office manage that, along with another program called Help Me Grow. They work with daycare providers and early childhood education folks from all across here in Kittitas County. And then we also became the physical sponsor for the Central Washington Nonprofit Network. It had been in existence for a number of years, providing the Conference for Greater Good each year, but they needed a bigger bucket to put it in and a little bit more organization around it, and said, would you do that? And absolutely aligned with our mission, so we're happy to do that too. And then finally, the Legacy Maker. And this is where we do planned giving in a way, and there's lots of folks who have done this with us over the years, but we have a certified professional on staff, Heidi, who's got a certification in this, and one of the, actually is the only one in Eastern Washington. And we work with folks to plan their charitable estate gifts and to make grants and to inspire their heirs or pass along the giving and engaging others in fund advising. And our program's called Inspire at YBCF. And that doesn't have to be for us. We will help other agencies. It's pulling resources together for our community. So if someone has an organization, you may have someone that you know would like to leave you in their will, we will be happy to discuss that with you and lend our expertise. We want gifts to benefit our community. It doesn't have to come to us. We just want it to you. It needs to support our community. So we're the connector on those whenever we can. This is probably the one that's the most profound for me, and probably the most significant in our community, and has been for years. Thanks to Joe Falk and John Rothenbuehler and a variety of folks who put this together. This concept, Mary Monroe Davis, you hear this every year at the scholarship pieces, but the way that trust came together, YBCF manages the funds for that, and and Rotary Trust actually manages the scholarship program. Nearly $10 million has been donated out in scholarships and repetitive scholarships across students throughout Yakima County. It's astounding. It started off with a $19 million gift. That fund balance, even after giving away the 9.9 and providing Rotary Trust with a nice corpus of funds to do their work with, it still remains a balance of over $26 million. That is outstanding. That's that piece about endowment. That will go on for a very, very long time, and it continues to grow, and the funds off that to benefit students in our community, that's incredible. And that woman's name and her family every year get to hear about the Molly Monroe Davis Scholarship. I mean, it's really, most people in this community know that. That's an incredible legacy gift. So that's really 20 years of impact. And I want to just leave you with one of the things we're starting to introduce folks. We're going to be hosting these coffee and conversations or cocktails and conversations where we're going to identify sectors and bring people in from the nonprofit sector to tell folks about what they do and how they're impacting work. And it's free of charge, not making any requests for funding. It's just going to be, can we help people better understand how our community addresses needs in the nonprofit sector? And it could be the arts, it could be elders, it could be whatever. The next one coming up is some nonprofits from the Lower Valley and how they're addressing needs of that community. Okay, I think I've blabbed fast enough. Do we have time for questions? 2 minutes. Anybody got some questions for me? Yeah, Felix. Yeah, when we very first got started, it actually was just Yakima County, the boundaries within Yakima County. And quickly after that, about 2 years after our funding, Lorene Petrie left us a trust that actually funds in Kittitas, and our board decided to accept that and then apply for additional. So we can actually fund into Kittitas as well. One of the things we now say is, we didn't change the way we define it, but we can gift anywhere in Central Washington, and we think about this. So ESD 105, our school district, is well beyond the boundaries, and people might step across the line. They're outside of the Yakima County. That seems crazy. They're still our neighbors. They're still part of our community. So we typically look at our area of reach in the ESD 105. So those communities like Grant, Kittitas, they don't have community foundations, and during the pandemic, we were a really essential resource to them to get money to folks out in the other areas and bring in contributions. Anyone else? Yeah, Dana. Are you talking like a nonprofit or just anybody? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We connect them with one of our staff. So how our staff work is we go out into community, learn about the community, work with our grantees. You know, if we're granting 130 organizations a year, get pretty familiar with them, try to develop relationships and understand what's going on. And then we do double checks back around, and we all kind of have a portfolio, if you will, a portfolio or specialty. So Lindsay's is primarily education, mine's healthcare. There's a variety in our board. We also have people that represent a lot of those. So we get input from them, and our grants committee is a pretty well-rounded, community-based group of folks who come together and look through all of those things. But that's how we'll assist. And if we can't do it, we'll find somebody who can provide some guidance. Yeah, Charlie. Oh.
So directly, so personally. It's not an elitist thing that only the big boys get support. It's really in the community in a way that makes a difference, that is notable, that everyone can look to.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Whoops, oh, her heel is stuck in the platform. You got to stay right here with me, Sharon. First of all, Charlie, that wasn't a question, but that was a great comment. Thank you. Who knew? I mean, didn't you make that statement? Who knew that you do what you do in our community? I mean, I didn't know. Anybody else out there not know everything that they do? I mean, there are a few of us, yeah, but that is fantastic. And it just proves some of our best programs come from our own members. Thank you, Sharon. That was wonderful. So continuing on, well, I'll just tell you, Sharon, that because you are a speaker today, we are donating to our Rotary International Polio Plus campaign to eradicate polio everywhere, hopefully. So thank you. Next week, well, this Saturday, I'm just going to give a little plug for Wellness House, open house. I think it's this in the afternoon on Saturday. Amy May said, oh, Junior League also had a nice donation there. So be sure to check that out when you're out there. Is that okay, Amy? Okay. Next week's program, Kirk Schultz, president of WSU. And that'll be here. I think, let's see, Vocational Scholarships Awards will be here the following week. And Sissy Reeves, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Yakima Convention Center, that will follow the week after. If you are on the music committee or if you like to sing, there's a little short rehearsal after the meeting today. Great meeting. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next week.